But that was our initial meet time. And then I got diagnosed with breast cancer in 2014, going into all of 2015 with all my treatments. Kacie sent me a most beautiful message and a card, asked for my address. And it was so beautiful because a lot of people are afraid of the word cancer or they don't know what to say. And we connected then. Kacie was doing brows, her famous fluffy brows already. I wanted to do it, but I couldn't because of my neuropathy of chemo. And I asked her where she took the course. And we just started talking about, hey, do you want to do areola course with me? Let's do it together. And we just joined forces because she'll talk about her story as well, why she's such a cancer activist like myself. That brought us together. I went through breast cancer and all the treatments, and we can talk more about that later, but cancer brought us together. The areola restoration force of the Nipple Sisters.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to hop on here quickly before the episode begins and share a promotion that I'm running for the rest of April and all of May that may interest those of you who like to set goals, who are working on yourself, who are entrepreneurs, and want something more, better, different when it comes to your personal and professional life. And I'm offering a 2-hour coaching package for those of you who may feel a little bit stuck or you're looking for some clarity around what you actually want, what goals you want to set. So if you want some support in what is your vision, what are your values, and how do you align those two things to set goals that internally inspire you? So when you get up in the morning, you're excited about getting into action towards the things that you say that you want. So if that resonates with you, this package would be a fit. And then also possibly you're in momentum, you're creating results, and you want to go to the next level, yet you're in a little bit of confusion. You're not quite fulfilled with where you're at, and you don't know what to do or how to do it to elevate your results to the next level of whatever your desired success is in all areas of your life, right? Your physical health, your business, your relationships, your wealth, giving back, all of those things. So if that resonates with you as well, this package would be a fit. And so if this interests you, just go into the show notes and you'll see a link to my website and click on there and you'll see the promotion. It's a 2-hour coaching package and I'm offering $100 off for the rest of April and all of May. So $100 off. I would love to talk to those of you who would like that support and guide you and support you in getting your goals. And so take advantage of that. Look forward to connecting with those of you that do. And just once again, thanks so much for being here. I hope you're getting value. Thanks for listening. And let's get back and dive into this episode. Excited for you to hear what's coming up. Have a great day. Welcome, fellow entrepreneurs and goal getters, to Entrepreneurial Elevation, Unleashing Greatness Within with myself, your host, Kelly Beveridge, and my special guest today, the Nipple Sisters, who I am super excited to introduce. We have Carmelina, Baccari, and Kacie, Rainey. These two women are just inspirational. They're powerhouses. They're genuine and authentic, and they have such an inspiring story of making a difference through their own journeys and then going and impacting other women's lives. And so I just want to share a bit about them before I bring them on. They have collected experience of 15 years in an internationally certified paramedical micro-pigmentation specialist. I had to write that down. They're united through their shared passion and vision of improving lives of cancer warriors. Having been cancer warriors and continue to be cancer warriors themselves. They've helped hundreds of women restore their body confidence, which I just love so much, through cancer-related micropigmentation techniques. And they've both experienced loss and effects of cancer from a young age. And they want to provide cancer warriors with a way to feel like their best selves. And what they say is that areola restoration is what they do, yet hope is what they create. And they are the founders of Ckinns Official. They're businesswomen, they're entrepreneurs, and we're going to get into all of it. And what I would love to do is bring these beautiful, lovely ladies on. And my first question is, I just want to ask you both, can you share a little bit? Let's just start, if you can, with your own personal story, your cancer journey, and how that led you to each other and starting a business together.
Who do you want to start? Which Nipple Sister?
Yeah, so who wants to go first?
Barb,
Okay, I'll take the stage right now.
Yeah. And so maybe because there's two of you so that the listeners and those who are watching know who you are.
Absolutely. I'm Carmelina Baccari, and I'm one of the Nipple Sisters. Yeah, cancer did bring us together, but we met way before in the early stages of 2000s. Kacie was my student at a makeup school. I remember her. I don't really remember a lot of my students, although they're all special to me. She stood out. Her dad had just passed away, and she had started taking the 8-week diploma program. And she spoke about her dad passing away of cancer. And I remember that vividly that day. I know exactly where I was sitting in the class. So back then, we didn't know that cancer would bring us together later, but that was our initial meet time. And then I got diagnosed with breast cancer in 2014, going into all of 2015 with all my treatments. Kacie sent me a most beautiful message and a card, asked for my address. And it was so beautiful because a lot of people are afraid of the word cancer or they don't know what to say. And we connected then. Kacie was doing brows, her famous fluffy brows already. I wanted to do it, but I couldn't because of my neuropathy of chemo. And I asked her where she took the course. And we just started talking about, hey, do you want to do areola course with me? Let's do it together. And we just joined forces because she'll talk about her story as well, why she's such a cancer activist like myself. That brought us together. I went through breast cancer and all the treatments. And yeah, and we can talk more about that later, but cancer brought us together. The areola restoration force of the Nipple Sisters.
Yeah. And sometimes that happens, right? We go through certain challenges or adversities in life and we find our tribe, right? Of like-minded people or women in community. And so obviously you two have been on the journey together and I love how it's come full circle and now you're doing this together. So Kacie, what about yourself?
Yeah, so we like Carve nailed all the points there, and especially the emphasis on cancer bringing us together. And like you find your tribe when tragedy hits in a certain way, whether it's happening to you or around you. I just find that in that type of moment, you have to mature so quickly. And I was so lucky to have crossed paths with Carm and just connect with her at that time in my life, and then how our roads cross again later in life. And we were the Nipple Sisters in the making when we first met, and we didn't even know it. So we took that and just ran with it later. But again, we'll talk about that later. But essentially, yeah, so I haven't personally been through cancer. Carm is our beautiful warrior of the two. However, I do have a genetic disposition that I tested positive for, that my dad had, and he passed away from cancer, from colon cancer specifically. So it's called Lynch disease or Lynch syndrome. And as an offspring, it's like a 50-50 chance of inheriting this mutation. And in a nutshell, all that really is really, really strong likelihood of developing very specific types of cancer at a very young age in your lifetime. So once my dad had passed away, I actually tested to see genetically. This is quite new at the time in 2008, 2007, he passed away, but we were testing for it. And essentially now I've just been a huge advocate for Lynch syndrome, as well as all of the testing that's involved so that you can be on the preventative side of cancer and hopefully just keep a strong baseline all the way through or catch things at early detection.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And we say don't take your health for granted, yet it just becomes, I think, a tagline for a lot of people that they talk about, yet they don't actually live that in their life. And I know I'm an example of that, being an entrepreneur, workaholic, working and really slowing down this year and focusing on my health so that it is the number one most important thing. And so maybe your girls can talk a bit about that, because I'm sure you've had an emotional journey, a spiritual journey, whatever it may be, where you were just chugging along with your life and all of a sudden these health scenarios pop up that cause you to push pause and really take stock of your life, right? And start to choose a different path. Maybe can you talk about that before we get into the business? I'd love to still just chat about the health, because there's going to be so many people listening who can relate.
I'll go and then we'll go back. I guess we'll ping pong
Sure,
back and forth,
yeah.
me and Kate.
Yeah.
Yes,
This
it's
is prime
very,
spot.
it's very, yeah, yours as well, Kacie. Kacie's an old soul. She always has been. Also, when a line working together, that's for sure. Yeah, she just gets it.
You know when you just get it?
Yeah. So for me, what's crazy, I know my breast cancer intuitively. I'm very aware of my body. It was how I processed emotions, how I suppressed things. I grew up quickly. I'm a second of 6 brothers and sisters. I was out of my house at a young age, but even entering certain relationships and how I processed certain things that I carried from my childhood into my life and relationships. And I know intuitively that my breast cancer cortisol levels rise it's a proven fact when you're stressed and all that. So I'm an extremist anyway, but I took from when I got breast cancer, even to now, there's big changes. I dove into, and I was on a path of self healing, not being fixed or bettering myself, but healing before I got breast cancer. And I feel that I handled it as well as I did because I was already on that path that year before. So when I got breast cancer, it was not, I compartmentalized it. And of course, it was shocking and scary and a mind fuck, and it still can be. And I always say that and whenever somebody asks, but now it's literally attached to the mind, body, soul. That it's a cliche, but it's so true. Stressed out from your mind and you think things and how it goes into your body and you create the nervous system gets affected and cancer cells or your body's equilibrium or that grounding is interrupted. I really feel that cells can be interrupted and it's all connected. So I'm very on a prevention side since my cancer diagnosis. And since it's gone now, at first I was very picky. Oh my God, I can't eat this and that. I know a lot of cancer warriors talk about that. I was like, oh, I can't do this or meat or this and that. So now I'm very balanced about it. I don't drink because I chose the alternative route because I was supposed to take medication and it's my healing journey and I didn't want to. So I said, okay, let me cut certain things out. I wasn't a big drinker anyways, but let me cut out things that raise hormone levels and stress levels. So I don't ever have to worry about that. And I do a lot of mental health healing. Like I don't let the small things get to me. So I feel like healing a lot of your past or any issues that we all have is number one. I say that to any breast cancer warrior that talks to me. I always ask them, and a lot of it's connected to holding on to resentments or like having anger inside you or pain that you haven't released. So I'm on that kick where I don't have sugars in my body. If I do, I try to eat raw and the odd time smart gummy sweets that are not the psychedelics or CBD, but just more of minor sugar. I try to just balance where I'm still enjoying life, but keeping my inflammation low.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all connected. And it's actually working a muscle. It's a lifestyle. It's not easy.
Yeah, definitely a lifestyle
Super
change.
It's not easy.
And I agree what you shared with, and I'm curious about your take too, Kacie, because I know you're a huge advocate for being preventative, right? And so maybe you can share as well. And I was actually going to ask you, Carmelina, you started to talk about it, is what advice would you give somebody to be proactive and things like you're talking about, like looking at your stress levels, looking at what do you need to heal inside, where do you have resentment? And then of course, that's more the inner work. Then there is the physical health stuff too, like the sugars and what you're eating and what you're putting in your body. There's many facets of it. Yet I'm curious what you girls feel about that too, because you have such a experience.
Exactly. I'm not religious per se, but I'm spiritual. And I always pray to the higher power, or whatever they say, because we aren't on this earth alone. But what I would say is be curious, because I find when you're not curious, you're not researching for yourself, or you don't even listen to your body, making those little steps, because then it is easy.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah.
And so being curious.
I do want to say congratulations on being healthy. I think that's freaking awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you.
It's huge for her. Like, honestly, Carm is such an incredible advocate in that space because she's been there, she's done this, but she's also chosen her own way. Like she said, this is my healing journey. So she's never telling people what to do. She's just expressing what she has done and what's worked for her. But it's amazing because when you lead by example and you can see somebody leading this healthy lifestyle and specific things within the lifestyle, I know I've even adopted into mine things I wouldn't have even known unless you have someone such as Carm being like, Kacie, you got to do this and you got to do that. And I'm like, okay. But she's done this research because she's bettering herself and then she's passing it along forward. So it almost takes a little bit of that like extreme overwhelm out when you have someone who's this worked for me. You need to try this. And you're like, okay, in the advocacy side of that, Carm's like a rock star beyond for so many women. They're always reaching out to her like, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? And it's so amazing to see because she is a little bookworm. She'll read away and like research like crazy when it comes to stuff because, you can take in what someone is saying to you, but in the same breath, you advocate for yourself, like she said,
Sure.
So I think
Yeah.
that's really important for anybody out there, right? If you have an inkling about something or you're just not sure, and getting familiar with your body and listening to your body is the biggest one, right? We're too busy to even listen to our own selves sometimes. It's kind of
Mhm.
And Kacie, can you talk more
Mhm.
about that? Because I think that's really important, right? As women and as people, yet specifically as women, we're very intuitive. And I think a lot of times we shy away, and it could be the line between being the hypochondriac, something wrong with me. And then also, though, being really in tune with ourselves of, hey, wait a minute, I feel like something's off. As an advocate, what do you suggest women do? Do we go get regular checkups if we're feeling like what should we be looking for? When you say be curious, like about what would some guidance and tips be that you give us?
Yeah, that's a really fantastic question. And it's quite a broad question, but in a good way. Just considering Carmen and I coming in from different angles, right? Her having cancer is gone. And that's one thing she'll always say. It's fucking gone. Okay. Like we're not saying, oh, no, no, no. There's no word clear. It's gone. I love that about that statement because it's true. And it's that mental mind fuck you talk about. I think for me personally, with having been so young and knowing this position that I'm in, it at first was a mind fuck in its own way, right? Because just for anyone who's not familiar exactly with Lynch, here's just one statistic for an example. Colon cancer is one of the highest cancers within the Lynch mutation. So as a female with Lynch, I have an 80% chance of developing colon cancer in my life and in your younger years. So once I tested positive for this, here would be a little piece of advice. Education is power. The more that you inform yourself, the less scary things become. The more that I started to understand, okay, now I need to go in for annual colonoscopies. You do it one time, it's scary, it's a hospital, you have to get put out, it's all these things. But then you start to reframe that in your brain. And like Carmen was saying, it's a muscle. You start to take the scary away because you're like, all right, we got to do the prep for this, which is like the worst ever. It's like that or the alternative. So it's would I rather do this every year and stay on top of my health, or would I just rather wait and guess? And it's for me personally, I want to stay on that. So with Lynch for me, like I have to do when you turn 30 as a female, there's now 8 different preventative tests that I have to do, different screenings, endoscopy, which is going down. You got colonoscopy, which is going up, skin cancer checks, mammograms, cervical scrapings, not fun things, but it's all in the mindset of how you look at it. And it's never going to go away. It's not something I can just bury my head in the sand about and run away from. It's something like I just take the bull by the horns approach. And my dad was so fantastic with educating us as he got sick. And it took the scary out of the scenario and it became more informative. And now I feel like I'm more in the driver's seat of my own health than being like, what's going to happen next? What I mean? So we're always just, Carm will always say, how are your tests? Like, how's the testing going? Every summer I go through all my tests. And before I go in, she'll just be like, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
God, nothing's there. And I'm like, you're right. Like the mindset of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so smart. Yeah, I think that's good for everybody to go and get tested. So would you recommend once a year just to go and get all those tests you talked about, just so that you're being proactive?
So that's specific to Lynch syndrome. So that's the only reason why I have to be, and my team of doctors are so hardcore with my testing and annual. And if something is off my baseline, then it becomes every 6 months for that test. So some of those tests for a normally healthy human, they might not be recommending like all of these tests. But what I always do encourage is if something feels funky, or your intuition is telling you something, your body's telling you something, go to your doctor and push for that. Carm can speak further on this, but you have to say, even in the position I'm in, I have to tell some of my doctors that I've been seeing for over a decade, I'm having this done every year. And I have to push for that because they're like, you came back clear 4 times in a row. And I'm like, yeah, but the 5th time it might not. So I don't care what you think, it's what I'm asking and requesting for. So
Exactly.
the advocacy side, but Carm can speak on that too.
That's what Kacie's saying is so true. If you're not like, even my breast cancer, I went, like, I didn't feel anything in my breast. It was my lymph nodes because it moved from my breast to my lymph nodes. Didn't hurt. It was just doing this pulsing. That's weird. I actually went to my doctor even the year before to get a mammogram because I've never had one. So, well, you're too young. I'm like, okay. Then year after, so felt pulsing. He said, that's your lymph nodes. They always swell when you're sick. But I pushed him. I go, no, but I want to, can you send me to get an ultrasound? Because I just didn't know. I didn't know, but if I didn't push it, he's like, you're probably fighting something. It's okay. So can you just send me? And I had to wait 3 months. And I was like, oh, should I pay for it? It's subliminally, I knew something was up, but not, which is strange. It's like your body tells you silently if you actually listen. So I went and the doctor said it that day. You're not allowed to. And I'm so happy he did. And I always say this to everyone. He came in and said, I see cancer. They're not allowed to till you do the biopsy. But my ultrasound, this doctor said, I see it moves from your breast to your lymph node. He said it that day. So I didn't have to wait the 10 days and get my biopsy and wait for that. But just like Kacie's saying, you have to advocate for yourself because it's crazy how they won't push for you. And they don't, like what Kacie's saying about even colonoscopies, they don't let you just get those.
Yeah.
They're really hardcore. No, they don't. So Kacie, she has Lynch, all that high percentage of getting certain cancers is huge. So some people I've known that gone colon and don't have Lynch, they had to push.
Yes.
I think it's important what you girls are saying, like a few things I'm taking away, like how many, and I've even done this sometimes. I've put off a pap smear because I was like, I just don't like getting it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to go. And I'm like, it's uncomfortable. It's embarrassing. Oh, I'll just go next month. Or I don't think I saw the uncomfort, the embarrassment, just the mindset around it. And then also the, oh my gosh, advocate for our health. If we feel something's, don't be afraid to ask. I think like the message you girls are sharing with all of that is so important. Be willing to be embarrassed, be willing to be uncomfortable, just put your health first, be educated, have peace of mind. And if you feel like something's up, then I'd rather fight for it and be wrong, right? Instead of not fighting for it and something be going on. So just like really powerful message for women. And I think the more that people share these stories, the more we all have the courage to do it. So thanks, girl. That's really amazing. And wait, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say one last thing, that not being forced in a way to jump into the advocacy side and do all these tests that I don't love doing. And Carm, you're being told at that point, right? Like along her journey. So it's a little bit different, but I think when you have to go in for these specific tests, like you said, your pap tests are like, a cervical scraping. Whew, you guys. Yeah, I'm going to tell you straight up, hurts like a son of a bitch. But you know what? I know what to expect. And the thing is, though, and I would encourage, is it's the mindset of going into that and how you're framing that, and to not be embarrassed about your body. Like, I know it always, oh my gosh, we got to go for a mammogram and people are going to see our boobs, or they're going to see our, have to go into our vagina. And it's okay. We all have boobs or nipples or whatever. The professionals are not like, oh my God, look at your boobs. They're trying to do their job. So the more comfortable that you are with your body and just being like, ugh, like when we see our warriors, which we'll talk a little bit later down, it's like we always professionally will just step out and let them change. And they like laugh at us because they're like, do you know how many times it's been just like tarps off to check things? And that's the kind of mindset that you get more comfortable with your body, the more that you have to go in for testings. And it'll never be fun at a hospital. Like hospitals aren't like, your party zone, that's for sure. But the way that you walk into that and you mentally prepare for that, I think, at least in my perspective and in my time doing these preventative tests, has helped me not create that anxiety, which then creates the heightened, you stress yourself out too many times, right? And Carm talks about that all the time, about holding that stress and how it's so unhealthy for you. And it's like, why would you stress every single day until your appointment if you can just like maybe compartmentalize that a pinch and then focus on it when it's time? But be proud of your body. People are there to help you. Professionals are there to help.
And I think too, to take the stigma out of it too. And I love what you're sharing as well, that be proud of your body. And so let's chat about that. Let's transition to this, because you girls have had this journey, both of you, and it's brought you together, and you are now the Nipple Sisters, right? You have your business, Ckinns Official. Yet chat about, where did your personal journeys and how did your personal journeys inspire your business journeys in collaboration to now go and be of service to all these women and support them with their body image, their health, how they feel about themselves, their self-love. Can you chat about that?
We both love in having a purpose in our work. We both do cosmetic tattooing and obviously paramedical, working on scars, and obviously our favorite areola restoration. So we love seeing that emotional shift when we have a patient come through and they're super nervous and there's emotion that comes up and then they're super happy. They're always like, why did I wait so long? And they don't realize what an impact it has just to have color when they walk in past the mirror, when they get out of the shower, or if they're going to the swimming, or if they're at yoga class, changing in the change room, and people see no nipples and they're hiding before, but now they can be open about it because they have color there. It comes to life. But I feel going through my experience, what I can relate to is I was afraid to lose my hair at first. I didn't even think about death. And I know a lot of breast cancer warriors probably think they have the same kind of feeling, not all, but most. I was like just researching the hell out of how could I save my hair? Ice caps. I bought fake brows that were like hair, never used them. I was like so scared, not thinking about Carm, you could die. This cannot work. I didn't even think about that till after. So I need to save my hair. Oh my God. So I love that it took that away from me, that I'm like, who gives a shit about my hair?
Right.
My lashes fell out. My brows, I had really nice brows, that were really fluffy, natural Italian brows. I had nicer lashes. They'd grown back. They're not the same, but whatever. They're nice. Their shapes, the shape is nice. But what I can say, and then having almost lost my breast, I chose not to get expanders or do mastectomy because I was just done after chemo. I'm like, please, can you just do a lumpectomy and maybe what's the percentage of radiation? Please save my nipple. Please save my nipple. He wanted to take it off. And that's my, I didn't want to lose my hair. I didn't want to die, and I didn't want to lose my nipple. That's the exact three. That's how it went through. That's how it went.
Right.
First hair and nipple. So he cut around my nipple, lifted it and took out the cancer. But I was scared to lose my nipple because that is a huge part of us as a woman. Even if someone can't see it, you feel it. You feel womanly under t-shirt, under your pajamas, when you're getting dressed or shower, whatever it is. We're supposed to breastfeed our kids if we have kids, or it's just part of us. It's a maternal. It's very seductive for yourself. It makes you feel beautiful as a woman, even though someone can't see it. It's part of us. So being amputated or having that scare, it does a lot psychologically if you're not strong going into breast cancer. Because I've seen a lot of women that they're broken. And Kacie can vouch to this. We see a lot of women that you're like, whoa, we're very emotionally intelligent, where we can read our patients, when to be quiet, when we can talk more, when they need a little bit more softness, or when they want more of us to be a little bit wild. Turn the music up, dance with them. We're doing nipples.
It gets wild.
It gets wild. We're like ones that just want to talk, but we're very emotionally, our bedside side manner is very important. We just can read. Kacie's very emotionally intelligent. Like we can read the room, we can read the vibe. So we know, but what we like it from experience, how, and Kacie was also brought up, being comfortable, all that. A lot of warriors have so many, if you're looking at your breasts, even checkups all the time, so many needles. So to me, that's what the greatness it brought. I could probably walk down the street naked and not care because it's brought that. I had to look at myself with my cancer moon face and swollen and like bald. And I would make myself go work out and go to yoga because I'm like, if I could do that, I could do anything. So it was a blessing and a gift that happened because I don't take anything for granted now. Who cares about losing my hair now? Who cares? I never used ice caps. I wore a wig once. But it was a blessing in disguise because I don't worry about those small things now.
Yeah.
But the healing we bring to these warriors, something was taken from them, amputated, and they have a lot going on. Some women go through multiple surgeries. Some women are terminal. Some women, we have a few patients that cancer has come back.
Patients that have passed away too.
Yes, it's sad. Like I remember working on a patient, and Kacie remembers this as well. Her breast, she had so many surgeries that I could feel her skin, the implant. Like I thought I was going to pop her implant because she had so many surgeries and they said they couldn't do anymore. So I could feel everything like that implant, and I'm working on the areola. So I think it brings that back so much healing. It may seem superficial. Oh yeah, it's cosmetic. No, it's more than that. It really does open a new chapter. It doesn't close. It closes an old one, but it opens a new one of like hope, feeling like I went through that, but look at me now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
amazing.
inspiring. Kate can vouch to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We call it ultimate tattoo warrior, badge of honor tattoo.
Yeah.
So a lot of these women have never had a tattoo before, let's just say, right? And so the word tattoo, it sounds so taboo. Oh, a tattoo. And the world of tattoo has changed a lot, but in the world of our work as paramedical specialists, like we create anatomy. Like that's what our job is. But the flip side of that, and like what Carm was just saying, which is exactly spot on, there is so much more in our profession that I think as our profession grows and it develops and it flourishes, it's so beautiful that we can not only offer the craft, but Carm and I have this, she's incredibly emotionally talented and intuition and all the things too as well. And so when we work together, we both bring a piece of this, I don't know what it's, our traumas,
It's our traumas, our trauma bonds.
our fucked up stuff. But we've been through so much shit, literally so much stuff that we've healed, even some really, really, really hard things that we personally have gone through together. And, you know, our past, but that's the thing is like you come into it, you heal and you work on yourself. You can see in other people, oh my gosh, like we need to step up here, or this is how we can really help this appointment. So for us, it's not just like a run of the mill, let's get you in and out, see however many people we can see. Why we created like the Nipple Sisters, it's like a sisterhood. And when we're able to put our amazing art onto somebody's body, like that's permanent. We take that with so much honor that someone would allow us, you know, to come in and create something beautiful to better, you know, their self-confidence, their open, you know, the new chapter, close the old. And that comes with it's so emotionally loaded. That's one thing that I don't think jumping into an industry like this, like a lot of new artists, if there are any new artists listening to this, like we would preach this from the rooftops. The way that you handle and embrace we don't call our patients like to doctors we do, but we call them our warriors. So the way that you handle your warriors and you embrace your warriors, they are like your most precious cargo. And that is something that is completely your responsibility. And if we can do anything to better that experience, this is the very last step in the full completion game. And Carm and I want to make that the best experience that you've had while we're creating something so emotionally charged. So we're these little, I don't want to call us like little healers, but in a way, sometimes, you know, we come out of appointments and we're like, we learned so much though. So it's a give and a take, like from a warrior to us. Like
we're healing too. They're teaching us as well.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's what I was just going to say is like, as you're being of service and you're giving your gift, you're actually getting a blessing back as well, because you're healing along that person's journey too. And like, how special is that? And Kacie, talk a little bit more about this, because you talked about sisterhood. And I know that a lot of my listeners, they're entrepreneurs and they're building businesses. And obviously your guys' journey is very heartfelt and special. Yet at the same time, how do you then take what you're doing and build a community and keep that feeling and that authenticity, yet in a way where you can still commercialize it, right? Where you're building a community for the sake of business, yet you don't lose the care and the kindness and that within the business. Does that make sense? What I'm asking is you're building this community.
100%.
Like literally that is the answer, is you're building a community. You know, our main focus here when we even started from the get-go, like if Carm and I were the most real and authentic humans, we're not walking this earth. I'll use this analogy that I just love, but we don't walk this earth with a catcher's mitt on. We're just take. We actually walk the opposite. We give. And we apply that exact same value and moral value compass to our entire brand. And that speaks volumes for what we're doing. When it comes to cancer space specifically, talking like, how could you not come into that space organically, authentically? We just so happen to find this incredible craft that we ended up taking a pain of ours, turning it into a passion. Then it unfortunately is so high in demand, but fortunately we're able to create a better space. And by that, our passion became our work, our livelihood. And we just were like, whoa, there's so much missing here that is, we need to take this and flip it upside down and make this the biggest community ever. So, like, when we talk about Nipple Sisters, and Karma's massive with community and she's amazing with connecting and all that, but you can't do these things. You can't build a business single-handedly. It comes from so many facets. And for us, we don't give a shit about the money. To be honest with you, when we first started, we were doing so many patients and warriors. We'd be getting referred from doctors. We would just be doing everybody for free. If this was, just for anyone who's not aware, in Canada, this is not covered. So areola restoration is not covered under the Canadian healthcare. So it's out of pocket to a patient or a warrior on our side. So Carmen and I are just like, man, if we could do this complimentary or pro bono for everybody, like that would be our absolute dream. But that's just not how it works in Canada just now. So our whole goal was like, how do we and create as much awareness as possible? It's through community. And of course, we have to eat too and all those things. But a huge part of our practice, a huge part of us, then going into developing and creating our new company was like, how do we make this community a better place? And we now have an initiative called Procedures for a Positive Purpose, where the community donates as a collective, and we will save all that up. And then on our wait list for a warrior who's financially unable, we will take them on. And then every studio that we visit, we do what, Carm? Like at least one or two.
Yeah. One or two,
pro bonos just on our own.
There's single moms out there. There's people that don't have the money. They took work off to get through treatments. Or if there's an angel donor that gives a certain amount, we minus it from the cost. But we also need to eat. Yeah. We're hoping that this becomes somehow the government puts it in the doctor's money slot so women don't have to pay for this, because it's the completion of their whole treatment plan. This is the last thing. And it's why would they've been through everything, reconstruction. Why wouldn't they have a nice nipple areola put on there, custom make colored to them? Why wouldn't that just be the end goal, that they've gone through everything?
Yeah.
That it'd be something to look forward to. They've lost so much, gained and lost at the same time.
And so you girls obviously have been through a journey, a personal one, yet you've been, I'm sure, through an entrepreneurial one too, right? So talk me, like you guys, like, you make it sound so easy, right?
I think all of our trauma bonding or what we've gone through has made us resilient.
It has made you resilient.
The
right?
gift for everybody. We all have a story, and it pushes you. Either you could go the other way or this way. Kacie and I, we don't want to fail. And if we fail, we're gonna get back up.
Yeah. We fail forward. We fail
forward
for sure. We'll chat a bit about it, like your journey into taking your story and your passion. And you first had this idea, hey, we can solve this problem within our community and give to these amazing women. And you formed Nipple Sisters, doing the that's a tricky word for me. Areola restoration,
or some people say nipple tattooing. There's so many terms,
but then you have a website. You're branding yourself. You've built a community, and now you've started your business, Ckinns Official. So, chat a little bit about the growth you've gone through as an entrepreneur.
Oh, so much growth. We both run our own businesses, and all of our money has been going into Ckinns Official that we've been developing for the past 3 years. We have launched 2 products. You can go to our website, Ckinns Official help me out.
Ckinns.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
We're going to put it in the show notes so everybody can actually just access it easily.
Chemo brain should be gone by now, guys. Okay, so we launched that, and we've launched a couple of amazing products, Notorious NIPs and Notorious NIP Stickies. I won't get into it. Go check it out if you're a trainer, warrior, or doctor. But we're about to launch a beautiful, amazing, natural product number from Health Canada product, the aftercare, the spray for this soon. And we've been working on this for 3 years, so stay tuned. I won't get into that, but we'll talk about Ckinns Official has been It's been great, but a lot of work. And we've been doing it collectively with throwing our money in and just everything's working out. But I almost feel like we were supposed to do this. It's hard. It's crazy, but we both lost our brothers not too far apart. We've been through a lot of things similar, and I feel like we're brought together. And Ckinns Official so I'll talk about where we got Ckinns from, the spelling.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want any things to go wrong with if you're developing a world-known product, because that's where we want it to go globally. We didn't want SKIN, skin, the word skin, so common, to be mixed up with our lawyers looking into all that. So we developed Ckinns, spelled CKINNS, Carmelina, CK for Kacie, Ckinns. So
And
that's
the
where that came
double
from.
ends, the Nipple Sisters.
Yes, sisters. So I'll let
Quad
Kacie.
rolls deep.
Yeah, it goes deep, guys.
Goes
Deep,
deep.
deep.
Yeah.
Love it.
And
So,
Carm was
yeah,
like
so we're
legit with
sorry, Kacie.
3 years. Sorry to cut you, Carm.
That's okay.
Carm was like legit with the 3 years of but if you look back into the very, very start of Ckinns Official, it's actually just after 2020 is when 3 years is like incorporated, but we actually started this back in 2020, like getting things rolling. So it's been a labor of love, to say the very least. But I think that's super, super cool about where and how this has started is obviously we saw a need, right? A need in the market, a need in this industry that just wasn't being met. Obviously, any great company that's being developed or a product that's being developed or a product line or whatever it may be that you're creating, there has to be a need. There has to be a demand for something. You're solving a problem. And so Carm and I, working in studio, boots on the ground every day, grinding, we're like, how does this not exist? And it was just by us communicating further, being like, obviously 2020 hit,
Being curious.
being curious. We're
Yeah.
just the curious cats out here, rolling around. We dive into it and we're like, you know what? Like, obviously 2020 shut a lot of businesses down or it held you back from working. And so we had this additional bit away and we just took a step back for a minute. We'd been talking about this for a long time. And we said, you know what? Let's press go on this. And that's how we were it was like you're standing on that massive mountain and you're like, I know I could do the jump. But then you're like, oh, don't jump. Don't do it. It's scary. Then you're like, that's really scary. We both just held hands. We're like, 1, 2, 3, go. And we're like, and that's how literally we have a picture of the dates that we like incorporated everything together. And it's so crazy to look back on that as women in business who have this dream and this passion. Carm said, like, we don't fail, like we fail forward. So when something doesn't work, we're solution-based business owners. That's just, I think any business owner would know that, but we're like mad solution-based business owners.
Like it.
But
Extra.
I think something beautiful about that is like and this might be like, I don't know if this is one of Carm's, but like whenever we talk about like getting our business started, and I can't wait for this year to further forward and maybe we jump on another podcast with you and we launch all of our amazingness, but we've been working so hard behind the scenes and like secretively that we've built an entire company. It's not just a product here and yay, like Ckinns Official is an entire brand that we've built. When we walk into these massive meetings, and I will be straight up and love men, but in the business world, right? A lot of these companies that we'd be speaking to hire as 2 female business owners, actually the CEOs, they would be like, well, where's the rest of your team? Or like, where's the boss? And you were like, you're fucking looking at them. They're right here. And there's 2 of them. And that was always like fuel for me and Carm, because it's like, we come in and you maybe misjudge us or you don't understand, like we're running this ship, and I think that's a huge push to any female specific entrepreneur out there. Don't ever let something that scares you or a scenario where you're like, ooh, I'm outnumbered here. Don't let that ever intimidate you. You take that bull by the horn.
Businesswoman, you're business owners, you have your company. Obviously, you're where you're at now and you have a vision that even expands. And like you said, we definitely will have you back on the podcast to chat more about what you're doing down the road. Yeah, what would you say to the entrepreneurs who they're just getting started. Like they have an idea. Maybe they've been through something as well. I usually think entrepreneurship comes from a situation in our life, right? Where all of a sudden we're like, ooh, I'm going to go and be of service because of what I just went through. Yeah. What would 2 or 3 tips or guidance or advice would you give to an entrepreneur when it comes to getting out and getting your brand put together or getting your business going or just taking the first step? And it could be anything. It could be with their mindset. It could be like some practical advice. Like what just comes to mind for both of you? I'm curious.
I would say be clear exactly what you want to do. And another one, Kacie mentioned, solutions. Be innovative. Go deep. Research. Always find a solution to move forward. That's one of the. I'm sure Kacie can add to that.
Yeah. No, those are like 100%. I mean, Carmen and I talk all the time, like every single day. When you have a business, you're married, like you are.
Yeah.
So we're married. Not actually, but we're married to business. We are the Nipple Sisters. But honestly, like what I would say is just do it. Do it scared. Do it with the unknown in mind. Do it when you're not all the way sure. Just do it and just start. Start somewhere, because once you put that first building block down, and do it with intention and integrity. That's number one. And when you put a building block down with intention, and then you put another block on top of that, you're now building a solid foundation out of cement. You're not building it on sticks that will eventually the pressure back on and then they crack. Exactly. So, and that's a really positive analogy in life too, right? When you're trying to heal, like you heal stone by stone as opposed to put sticks down. But I would say just get started. And even if you're scared, you're going to feel like it's out of control, bigger your dream is, right? But think outside of the box and just be so delusional in how amped up you are about your dreams and about what you're trying to create, that you get other people excited and they might not have a clue what you're talking about, but they're like, I want to jump on that train. I want to get it to be a part of that. So it's that enthusiasm, and it's the self-talk. It's the self-talk.
And know that you're worthy. Why can't you?
Yeah.
Just that.
Hell yeah.
Why can't you do it? Just do it.
Why not you?
Yeah.
Why not you?
And
Right?
I'm curious because you two obviously gel so well together, yet, what I would love to know is what have you learned or discovered about yourself being in relation and working in partnership with somebody that you had to grow through? Do you know what I mean? Maybe something popped up as you're working together and you're like, wow, like this, I'm not being effective here. I've got to be willing to change. What advice would you give those people who are
We were better communicators, but Kacie's probably learned. I'm a marinator. Like Kacie gets excited right away, but I'm like she's learned this about, I'm marinating the meats. Like it's marinating. Then one day I'm just like, oh, I'm very like, oh, wow, we did it. I'm very quiet and I'm like, so I don't know how, so she's learned to understand that about me. Hey, Kacie?
Yeah, I understand right off the hop, but sometimes what I'll do now is I'll like, when it's a big deal, I'll be like, this is a big deal. I'll communicate that to Kate Carb. I know that some things are exciting, but this one's a really.
I need you to focus and take this one in a little bit faster because this one's a big deal.
No, but it's weird because I'm like that even before I go on a trip. I don't get excited. It's when I land. That's how I am. But that's why exactly. It's totally. So I take it in and then I'm like,
%. And it's true. Everyone has their own way.
Yeah.
In a partnership, like there's absolutely zero chance. Like I could work with my own self. Like if there was a duplicate of me,
forget it.
See you later. And so there's so many commonalities and similarities that Carmen and I have, and we gel so well that way. But then we're so different in other ways. But it's the willingness to understand the other person. And
exactly.
Also, if I'm tripping or if I trip, if she's there to pick me up and re-guide me. And same with her. If she has a trip, I pick her up. But
vice versa, yeah.
It never, in a partnership, it never is, it's 50-50. But there are going to be times where that is a little bit imbalanced, and that's okay. It's more of the communication-based side of
and getting past it right away. As you should be, as we should be doing in our relationships or when you're married, you should be having communication, but whatever, if you're single or not, but this is good advice. How we are, that's how it should be in a married couple. Because we don't let it sit. If it's bothering us, I know she
No.
needs to stop it. So do I. And I might get spicy Italian, and then she listens, but she gets me, and then she gets little fights, feisty, spicy, beautiful blondie. And then we just talk it out, but we don't let it sit, because then that's not healthy.
Yeah.
No.
We did in a personal
not.
development course I took, we called it 24-hour clearing rule. It's don't let anything fester. Like you have 24 hours to clear it, right? For your own sake and for the other person's sake. And so
Casey's great at that.
I love that.
I mean,
Well,
I'm to be
so I have a few more questions. Yet before I dive into them, I just want you girls to share, what would you like everybody to hear or know about your business? Where can people find you? Talk to us a little bit about maybe what's next. So just talk about yourselves and promote your business a little bit before I wrap up and ask a few more questions.
You can find us on our social media handles or our website. So CaseyRainey.com, CarmelinaBaccari.com. If you want to know about Ckinns Official, you can go on this site, and I know you're going to have that all on there. And the Nipple Sisters, our site speaks about that, why we're bringing Ckinns Official into this new space of paramedical world it's becoming huge, and why we want to bring it to another level of using great products that aren't white labels, that are science backed up based, and we've used on tons of cancer warriors. So we have all the studies behind us with our own cancer warriors, and why you should be using it, and why healing is important, and caring for your warrior. And also, if you're doing cosmetic, you can use it on that as well. So we just want to bring it to another level of, how would I say it? So it's a 7-star standard, and not that it's just some white label, and it's beautiful product with beautiful ingredients, and you are working on beautiful clients, patients, and you're receiving and giving back a beautiful aftercare regime for them, or healing, because it's all about healing at this point.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
Did you want to add something, Kacie?
Yeah, like we essentially created this business out of the demand for something that wasn't there, like we mentioned before. And we have been working with this magic that we've created for so long now, and we've seen the amazing benefits of everything, and everything we do is intentional. And I think that's really important to point out is, as a small business that's going global, it's really important to us that we stick to the integrity side of how we created this. It doesn't get lost on us when things happen. Carm's marinating pops up. It's like those big things never get lost on us. We're humble. We have our boots on the ground. This business venture has just been so empowering, having built this and self-funded this as two entrepreneurs using their sole proprietorships to then build this massive corporation that's starting to rock and roll. We say massive because that's where it's going to go, but it's small right now. With everything, we wanted to, like Carm's saying, she's a spicy Italian, and like this blonde hair crazy, like I can get like fiery, like we've created this incredible company that is here to disrupt the space, right? And actually create a new space in a market that hasn't existed yet. So we're really plowing through, and we just can't wait for the launch and everything going on. And like we said, you can find us at skins-official.com. And that's where all of our updates will be coming, but also check out all of our social media sites. We do have a Ckinns Official page on Instagram, as well as Carm's handle, Carmelina Baccari, and my handle, Kacie Rainey. And of course, you'll attach all of that. But we really have a strong message in the work that we do, but also Ckinns Official stands alone on its own and has its own messaging. And it's the integrity and the quality that actually is setting new standards and regulations within different spaces and markets that we work in, and then us paving our own way. So it's going to be just an incredible journey, and we're excited to see what's coming in the future. And, we just encourage other people, if you have a dream or an idea, act on it, think it through, and then just jump in on it. We can't wait to see other women powerhouses come up and say, hey, be like, I heard this and I wanted to start this thing I've always wanted. It's go get it. Get your bag, girl. Do the thing. Go.
I love it. You girls are doing amazing things in the world. And so I also want to share with everybody who's listening that they can go to your website and donate as well, right? So donate to the wonderful warriors who are wanting the please say it for me again.
Areola restoration. Areola restoration,
right? So they can go on there and they can donate, which I think is also wonderful. And so you girls, thanks so much for sharing. Okay, just a couple questions. So what I would love to know now is, what would each of you say would be your version of success today? You've had these journeys, and I think it changes during different chapters of our life. Yet, what would you say today would be your idea of success?
I think taking my health in my own hands and taking accountability for myself.
I love that.
Yeah. I'd say just making it to the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, Carmen and I have been through a lot. And I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, but we both lost our brothers and quite closely together and young. I was 30 when my brother died and he was 34. And I think that just puts a whole new perspective. And Carmen losing her brother, I think just loss, and especially at sibling loss, it puts a perspective of life that changes what success looks like as a monetary thing to actually your own personal success. If you get out of bed that day, or if you were able to get yourself to a place where you can extend love to somebody else, like I find giving back and being able to step outside of myself and give to somebody else, that to me is success. Like I've reached a point in my life where I'm like happy with the growth that I've made. We're all broken. We all still, it's a continuous, Carm can vouch to this. Healing isn't just a one-step process. It's a daily.
Well, I wish we could take up and be gone. The health. You can't. It's an ongoing, just like Kacie said. Yeah. We all we have is now.
Yeah.
So true.
It's a daily practice for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. So last question then on this note is, if you were going to give like a call to action to everybody who's listening on what's something that they could go and do that would be impactful based on your lady's message today? What's something that if they got off this podcast, they could go and live in their life right now and go and participate in and do?
I think the big one, I'll say mine in case you're probably on the same page as this, is I feel like whatever held me back or others, and I see this and I observe, work through any trauma that you have. And it doesn't even have to be trauma. It could be like
limiting belief or something like
something happened to you that's inhibiting you, sabotaging your work life, your relationships, because your own stuff has nothing to do with that. To work on it because you'll get farther, because that's what it is. A girl, I remember talking, this is an example, a girl in my yoga class, some girl in high school was mean to her, but this woman's in her 40s and she hasn't forgotten about that. That's petty, but obviously it's affecting her now, thinking that everyone's like that and doesn't hold grudges. Work on those little things of yourself, because it will open up doors and it creates magic. It has nothing. You know what? It has nothing to do with you. Just get past your hurdles.
Yeah, agree. Yeah. So agree. And Kacie, how about you?
I would say honestly along the same lines of that exactly. Work on yourself. It's the biggest gift you'll ever give yourself, is working on yourself. Work through your traumas, work through just even your own life. It doesn't mean you have to have been through trauma to work through it, but there's a lot of stuff that generationally speaking, it stops at you if you choose to stop it or if you choose to work through that. But I also would say something that just goes back to the farthest of kindergarten for me, but a lot of people could relate to this, but the golden rule, just treat people how you would like to be treated and give more into the world or into your relationships, into your friendships, into business, however you want to apply that, than you take. And life will come back and bless you in different ways.
Exactly. Smile at them because you don't know what's happening in their life. Don't not an eye for an eye. Like you don't know the person in the market or someone. Everyone has something. Just don't be the same person. Smile at them. Doesn't mean you have boundaries, but smile at them. Be like, wave at them.
Yeah.
Road rage. That's what I did.
It's like that saying, we don't really know what other people are going through behind closed doors. So extend that grace and Great message, girls. Work on ourselves. I think that's always the answer. Whenever I know I'm stuck or I'm frustrated or I'm overwhelmed or things don't seem to, it always just comes back to myself, right? What am I resisting, or what am I not forgiving myself for? Or what do I feel shame or guilt around that I can clean up, right? So that I can move my life forward. And so you girls are just so special. Just thank you so much for being here. So proud of you and your health journey and your business journey. I get fired up seeing other women go out and crush it and conquer and give back and make a difference. And so I'm just so grateful for both of you. And as the kids say, watch this space, because I think you're just getting started. You're just getting started. So yeah, watch this space. So, yeah, thank you for being on my podcast. I just appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us. And circle back to us a year from now. We'd love to do your episode.
We will.
Awesome.
So great.
Oh my gosh, I love today's episode and being able to talk to the very inspiring Carmelina and Kacie. And my hope from today's episode is for those of you who are listening is, if you have gone through adversity or a huge challenge in your life, which most people have, it might not have been a health challenge, it could be any kind of challenge, that these girls' stories have given you some hope and some motivation that you can turn it into a blessing. You can take what you've gone through, you can build a business, you can create a mission, you can build a community, and you can just find a way to go and use your adversity to create a purpose for yourself that then goes and impacts so many other people's lives. And that's what these girls have done. And I'm just grateful that I was able to have that conversation with them. And I hope that each of you got something from their conversation. And if it was just even to go and do something positive in your life or go and treat somebody a little bit kinder, be grateful for your health and what you do have. I think that's just a huge lesson as well. And so just grateful for them to be on. I hope that you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. If you did, and comment, share your stories. Have you overcome something? What are you doing? We would love to hear from you and know how can we support. And just once again, thank you so much for listening. With love, greatness, and success, it's Kelly Beveridge.